What is the Trump administration planning to do to deal with the judicial tyranny that's paralyzing the Trump administration right now?
Well, that's the right word to use, of course. Tyranny. Judicial tyranny. This is a judicial coup by communist Marxist judges against the laws, Constitution, and democracy of the United States. The American people held an election, voted overwhelmingly in a landslide, in a historic mandate to deliver sovereignty and security and homeland defense to this nation. We also have a toxic stew of extreme anti-Semitism, anti-Americanism, Marxism, and communism on our college campuses, aided and abetted by foreign nationals imported into this country, spreading American hate on our soil, on our college campuses. And now, in a matter of hours, literally a lawsuit is filed, and hours later, a communist district court judge says that foreign nationals living in foreign countries have a constitutional right to study in America, that we have to let communists from foreign nations into our country to poison our campuses with Marxist ideas, anti-Semitic ideas, anti-American ideas, Jew hatred. That's a constitutional right now?
Right.
This is madness.
Is this limited to Harvard?
We have a duty to keep this nation safe.
Is this just limited to Harvard University, or are other schools on the list as well?
Well, by implication, if you get this ruling, this relief for Harvard, that means any university that tolerates extremism, anti-Semitism, anti-American, and these other poisonous ideologies would have the same right to bring foreigners to their campuses to participate in these activities. Immigration to this country is a privilege. We have the absolute right as a nation and as a people to deny the entry to anyone seeking to enter this country in order to protect the foreign policy, the national security, but also the well-being and domestic tranquility of this country. We don't need to be importing these toxic, radical, poisonous ideologies into our country. We need zero anti-American immigration. We need zero foreigners coming to this country who don't love America, who don't love our founders, who don't love our Constitution, who don't love our people, who don't love our society. You also have a tyrannical judicial ruling that has imprisoned our ICE officers and 8 murderers in Djibouti. Are you following this, Rob? President Trump, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Defense and Justice and State worked together to remove from this country 8 of the most heinous and violent murderers and child rapists in the entire United States. All illegal alien, all convicted by a jury, all sentenced to jail, all have had years and years and years of due process, all with final orders of removal from an immigration court. Key word there, final.
Right.
As in absolute, as in finished, as in complete, as in done. And they were being deported safely and humanely, more than they deserve, by the way, rapists and child rapists and murderers, to a country that was willing to accept them. And a local judge in Boston ordered the flight grounded and has now trapped ICE officers in Djibouti with these savage monsters, having to guard and protect them 24/7 in a location with no appropriate facilities, no detention space, no detention beds, nothing, putting their lives in line. They have to watch them 24/7. There aren't enough resources in the location to ensure the safety of these ICE officers. Is this judge mad? Is this a lunatic? What kind of world are we even living in where we're even having this conversation?
Yeah.
Illegal aliens who invaded our country and murdered our people, and now we're sending them out? And a judge says no? That is a judicial coup by any definition.
Let me know in the comments below what you think about what Stephen Miller just said as far as calling this judicial tyranny or judicial coup. And by the way, he is 110% correct when he accurately labels these activist judges as Marxists and communists. And I know many of you are perhaps confused by that or gumstruck or like, wow, that's extreme. It's not extreme at all. It is factually correct. The problem is most people in this country don't understand where that's coming from. I put a link in the description below to a book that explains how this Marxist ideology, critical theory, which is a Marxist concept, a Marxist construct, made it to the United States of America. If you want to truly understand what's going on and what the left's ideology truly is, and why what Stephen Miller says, as far as these people being Marxist communist, is correct, you really need to read the book. Then you will understand it completely. But let me know in the comments down below what you think, not just about what he said as far as the ideology, but about Harvard's perceived by them right to educate whoever they want to. The reality is, as Stephen Miller says, Harvard does not have the right to educate whoever they want. It's a privilege, but it's not a right. The United States of America, and it's not the judiciary. The United States of America, as in DHS or the Trump administration, they have the right to control who has access to this country. Harvard does not issue temporary visas for these kids to be educated from Lord knows where. That's done by the federal government. So this is going to be a very interesting case with Harvard getting a temporary restraining order in their favor to go against DHS saying they can no longer educate foreigners. It's going to be a very interesting case to watch because I know the federal government is going to say Harvard doesn't have the right to make that choice. And by the way, other attorneys, as in Alan Dershowitz, has said the same thing. The right of access to this country is granted not by a college or a university, but by the federal government. Very interesting case to watch. I suspect, since this is being decided initially in Massachusetts, very left-leaning Massachusetts, it's going to eventually make its way to the Supreme Court, and then we'll see what the Supreme Court says. But anyway, let me know down in the comments what you think about all of that. I'm looking forward to reading what you're thinking. As always, until next time, God bless. Love you all.